Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Learning to Art Journal, Phase 1. This is a series of classes that I will be doing, and this is just an introductory level of the process of how we'll be art journaling together. So what I thought I'd do is I was going to show you a little bit of what I've done, my finished product, if you will, the first couple years that I was doing art journaling, because I have done the more elaborate art journals that you might have seen online where people are painting figures and doing watercolors and adding words and scrapbook pages and that sort of thing. So I have done that before, but because, as I mentioned in the introduction of the video to invite you into this class, I at the beginning was so intimidated by all of those different options, if you will, to do something like this that I never really started. And it wasn't until I decided to just keep it as simple as possible that I really started to enjoy it. And actually, this still is my favorite way to art journal. So throughout this class, you'll also see me art journaling in real time with you so that you can kind of experience the same things that I experience and vice versa. And you know that, yes, I do understand that sometimes it can feel a little bit intimidating and some days will flow a little easier than others, but it's a practice, just like really when you think about it, everything in life, right? Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you, for example, this is some samples of my art journal pages. Now, this is a book. I'll show you the brand. It is a Strathmore recycling drawing paper, and it's a 9 by 12 inch. Now, for me, I don't always go this large. Sometimes I'll go super small, even notebook, steno pad, because I really don't want to overwhelm myself with what it is that I want to accomplish. So here's another size that might be something to take a look at, 7 inch by 10 inch. But again, you can simply staple together some copy paper, because where you're going to start to thrive is in the pictures that you've downloaded and in the quotes that you've downloaded. So let me kind of break down what you see. So what you see here is, this is actually some of my mixed media paintings that I've done. So I have a series of this as well that I will do in the next class. But what I did is I took a picture and then I took a quote, and as you can see, I added a little more color and variety by having washi tape, which this is washi tape. You can find it pretty much anywhere. Different colors. Actually, you can get pretty cheap actually. So that might be something to add, but again, not something that's a requirement for this class, because as you could see, you could just pick a picture, tape it on with regular Scotch tape. You could use any sort of duct tape. You could just glue the back of it. So it's up to you. So what I did is and as I'm asking you to do, is you're going to pick one of the pictures that you get in your download for the week. You're also going to pick one of the quotes. This week one's quotes are going to be all around journey. And then down here, you can decide to write about it, either writing about the picture you chose or write about the quote you picked, or just basically write about what you're feeling on this particular day. Because I promise you, when you go back later, because at the end of this course, you'll have 30 pages like this, and you look at that first page, the second page, even though it might feel a little hesitant to you, what you're going to find is there's something you've captured just by choosing this particular picture and this particular quote and putting them together. And I'm really excited about that for you, because again, going back to expanding this idea of what creativity means. Creativity is just about discernment, choice, why you make a particular decision in this point in time as opposed to another point in time in your life. And when you look at these pages, I hope what you see is, if you have never considered yourself to be creative, that you start to see that the process it does have mystery to it. There's no doubt about it. But really, it's a matter of putting a practice together and crafting it in a way that feels comfortable and inviting for you. So again, this is just the introduction of an example of what I'm doing here and how this class came together. And what I want you to do is go ahead and figure out what kind of paper, what kind of journal you're going to use, gather all your supplies, print off your PDFs, and I will see you back here in class very soon. All right, welcome back, and I hope that you have got your journaling system set up. Again, as I mentioned in the introduction, all of what you can use for your art journaling journey can actually fit into a pencil pouch. And so if you were to print off all of the quotes and then cut them into strips that can be folded, you can even have a crinkle effect on your quotes by just crumpling them up, which is a nice idea, gives you a little bit of interest. Doesn't have to look and feel so sterile, right? Gives it kind of an artsy look. If you wanted to, you could even very lightly paint over it with watercolor paint and let them dry. You don't want to smear your ink, but there are lots of different ways to, again, create this and make it your own. And the same thing with your pictures. So what you've probably noticed on the downloads is some of them I've kept at 4x6. Some of them I've formatted into squares, rectangles, just all different kinds of sizes and shapes. And what I'm hoping is that when you're looking at those pictures, you're not feeling so attached necessarily to the format that you don't feel like you can't cut it up and change it. So like, for example, you could put the quote up at the top, or you could put the picture on the side and cut up the journal, the quote, so that it's right next to your picture. So again, like I said, I think the first week we're just slowly delving in. You want to do it just kind of in the way that it's been structured, but I want you to always feel free to move it into a different direction if you're feeling compelled to try it, right? And the beauty about getting a PDF, right, is if something, you don't cut it, the way you want, or you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have cut that picture or that quote in that way, you just print it off. So that's the great part about just having this accessible for you to print off at any time. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about if you wanted to add more of the writing to this component for your art journal. So let's say, for example, you want to maybe get into a little bit of essay writing or more personal journal writing along with your quote and your picture. I wanted to give you 10 daily habits of what can help you to develop a writing practice. Now, again, this can be applied to writers, but it also can be just applied to you as a beginning art journaler or as someone who's just trying a new way to be creative. So here are the 10 steps. So I want to start with a quote. It says, it's by Kate Braverman, and she says, "You have to give away your TV. You have to read aloud 2 hours a day minimum. You have to walk in the hills alone, and you have to always carry a notebook." Now, that's ideal, right? I'm going to be honest. I love a good Netflix binge watching session, so we don't have to necessarily go to that extreme to art journal or to write, but I do like the idea of just pushing into a little bit more. Like, for example, I have appreciated yoga. Let's say that. I actually went so far as to be certified as a yoga instructor, and I am able to teach level 1 yoga. But what was happening is, and very much this could happen with creativity, right? You get so stuck in how you envision it's going to be that you never really start, right? But what I decided one day, coming across a yoga channel on YouTube, Yoga with Cassandra. I'll put that in the notes. She has these 10-minute yoga classes, 15-minute, all the way up to 90 minutes. But 10 minutes, can I do 10 minutes? Yes, I can. And so about a month ago, I just decided when I wake up, I'm just going to get the bat out and I'm just going to do it. And yeah, it's made all the difference to go from 0 time to do yoga to 10 minutes of yoga every day. It really is just about the consistency, right? Because we get stuck in our head if we can't do it, exactly the way we want, we just never start. And so that's why this is so good, the way you're getting into art journaling. And especially if you've done something like this before, and maybe even did it when you were younger or you had more time, and then you just start thinking, well, if I can't pull out all the art supplies and I can't, then I'm not going to do it. And it's just not true. You really can get some real deep fulfillment and satisfaction by just doing it a few minutes a day. I promise. So anyway, let's talk about those 10 habits to make a good writer. But of course, we can adapt it to being a good art journaler or even just a person with a creative practice, right? So number 1, believe it or not, is eat healthfully. So it says, and this is from a book titled The Writer's Book of Days by Judy Reeves. And I love this book because it gives you a journal prompt a day. So I'll also link this in the notes down below. But what she says is give your body what it really wants so it can support you. You may think it wants caffeine, sugar, alcohol, but what it really wants is broccoli and spinach. Eat healthfully for stamina, good health, and the sensory experience of it. Notice your carrots when you eat them, their color and crunch. Smell the onion. Look closely at its layers and its textures. Eat several small meals throughout the day and begin with a good breakfast. Here's number 2. Be physical. Remember when your mother warned you about making faces? Your face could freeze that way. If you're sitting at your desk all hours of the day and night, your whole body will petrify that way. Move it, stretch, exercise, work out. Breathe. How many times have we heard that? Breathe. It roils the blood and it feeds the brain. When you walk, run, bicycle, or swim, you're in touch with the earth. Unless you do it in a gym. In that case, get outside. Do it alone so you can pay attention to your body and notice your environment as you glide along. So again, going back to that example with yoga, the idea is not necessarily that you have to do all the things all the time, but you could do a little bit of it all the time, like noticing what you're eating a certain day, a certain time of day, like lunch, let's say. Bonus if you also do your art journaling at lunch, right? Being physical, same thing. I'm taking my yoga practice. I'm acknowledging that I know that the older I get, I need to continue to work on that flexibility. So 10 minutes seems doable. No matter how much I tried, 30 minutes wasn't coming, but 10 minutes has been coming a lot easier than 30 minutes ever could. All right, let me offer 2 more. Laugh out loud. Do you love it? You take big breaths when you laugh out loud, and laughing helps rid the body of toxins. So lighten up. Take a breath from work and play with your puppy or your child or your neighbor's child. Look at cartoons, tell a joke, share with friends. Find something funny in the world and let loose belly laughs and create a playground for the muse. All right, so let's try that right now. Let's do a little bit of a laughing exercise. So I would say wherever you're sitting, we're just going to find a comfortable space, right? As if we were doing a yoga class, but we're going to laugh instead. Let's go ahead and just take a moment. And maybe you're in a place you can't laugh with me. That's fine. I think I always find it kind of interesting that I actually get joy from hearing other people laugh, right? Do you ever feel a little self-conscious when you laugh? I'm starting to feel that a little bit now. All right, here we go. Let's do that again. Isn't that amazing? Just a few minutes time, just sitting. And it all comes back to this thing called intentional, right? I know there are times when if I'm not careful, I can go through a whole day and not laugh. And I'm going to look this up. I'll share this with you, I'm sure, on one of the, I'll put an article in the notes about this idea of how many times a child laughs during the day and how many times an adult laughs during the day. And I actually have seen this firsthand because I am an art teacher and I am a preschool teacher from time to time. I do stints as a preschool teacher. And oh man, most kids have an easy time laughing. But then when you ask an adult to do it, you might get a smile. Do you love this one? They might do this. Oh, that's funny. Why don't you laugh? I actually heard a comedian talk about that. All right. So I hope this is a good entry point for you to continue on with your art journaling. I would love to see what you're doing. So make sure and post it down below and let me know if you have any questions. And I'll see you back here in a little bit. So our assignment today is to think about what we're eating, just in general. And really take in this, use your senses with your eating. Just choose one meal, right? Number 2, some sort of exercise, even if you're just going outside, maybe walking to your mailbox. And then number 3, find a moment and try to laugh today. All right, I'll see you back here soon. Hi there. All right, let's continue on with those 10 daily habits that help create a beautiful writing and creative art journaling practice. So I won't go through all of them in detail. I'm just going to highlight a few of them, which I'm going to expound on a little more in our class together. But I wanted to at least hit each one of them for all of us that want to yes, you said 10, Robin, give us 10. Okay. So number 4 is to read. And I will say, for me, oh my goodness, this is something that I have gotten away from 100%. I do a lot of reading. I won't say that I don't read, but I don't read fiction as much as I want to. I don't know if maybe because I read so many nonfiction books, and so you have a practicality with it right away. And with fiction, for the most part, there's a buildup that needs to happen. So I need to figure out a way to add that in, because I do know that especially when you're doing something like writing or art journaling, and you really, start to feel like, again, the first week, it'll be really just about understanding just this nuts and bolts of how to put it together. But as you get comfortable with that, I want you to be able to feel like you can take that next step if you aren't normally a writer and really make that a nice, satisfying component in your art journaling practice, right? And so for me, I know that when I'm reading, it helps me kind of piggyback off of something I've read to write about it. And I think that's what those quotes in your PDFs should hopefully help with, right? And so I'm also kicking around this idea of perhaps maybe just going like a route where I'm listening to books on tape and seeing if that might be the way I can kind of usher myself back into reading. So again, these are all pieces of a puzzle, and we're not doing them all perfectly all the time. And we're also noticing ways we might have done it in the past that really aren't serving us today. And so rather than constantly trying to get back to where we were, let's honor where we are now, right? All right, so number 4 is read. Number 5, the author talks about what we call cross-fertilize. And I love this because I really do believe this is key to really sticking with art journaling. Because even if you don't, at the end of this class, do it every single day, to just know that this is something you can turn to. And there might even be times that you maybe sit down for a day and create 4 or 5 pages of your art journal because you just feel that burst of inspiration, and that's great too. But here's what she says about cross-fertilize. Experience another art form: music, photography, dance, painting, sculpture, film, theater. Keep open books of art in your writing space, a basket full of postcard art to leaf through. If music distracts you while you write, listen at other times where you can absorb the music and it's not just background sound. Visit a museum, walk in a sculpture garden, let other art evoke your own. And I love it. I know firsthand that has been something that I have loved. Just playing around with different things. Sometimes I'll sew. And it might just be a quick project, something that's done in 30 minutes, because I am a fan of the quick project. I'm just going to put that out there. And so to have something at the end of 30 minutes that is very tangible and just satisfying to look at, aesthetically pleasing, I'm just all about it. So number 6 is practice spirituality. So take time every day or several times a day to consciously go to that place you name sacred, through prayer, meditation, or simply being mindful and present in the present. And make time for whatever you do that keeps you in touch with your spiritual self. Now, here again, this art journaling experience could potentially be something that you consider sacred, or you consider meditative, or spiritual. I know for me, it plays 2 roles. Sometimes it's just about I haven't been able to create in a while, so it allows me to sit down and do something beautiful and creative quickly. And other times, if I'm feeling like I'm struggling with a problem that I'm trying to find a solution for, it kind of helps me to loosen my psyche a little bit. Because sometimes when you just hold on to a problem so hard, it kind of like I know I'm probably not explaining it right, but you probably understand what I'm talking about. Like, you can't even see an answer, and then someone will just say something and you'll go, wait, what? Of course, And so I think sometimes if you don't have that person to necessarily say that to, maybe it's a personal matter you don't want to speak about, art journaling, I have found, has been very useful to do that. So again, this is something that maybe you won't notice in the first couple weeks that you're doing that, but as you go along, just want to give you the invitation to look and see if you're finding that to be true, right? And maybe that those, the things that you want to kind of wrestle with start to show up on the page. And interestingly enough, we'll start to even synchronize with not only the pictures, but with the journal, with the quotes as well, which that is phenomenal. And please share that with me when that happens. All right, so here's number 7, pay attention. Notice the quality of light, the heft of air, color of sky, faces, clouds, flowers, garbage, graffiti, all of it. Slow down and pay attention. Stop during your walks, examine a leaf, read the writing in shop windows, observe people on a bus, the bus driver, the stink of the bus exhaust. And the thing is, going back to, this doesn't have to be you can't work and all you're doing is paying attention, but just as we sat and laughed, just taking a few moments and just noticing what's going on around you. Noticing if, for example, you're outside, are the birds singing? I've had these really, I think they're wondrous experiences. I don't know if it has happened to you. As you can tell, I love birds. This backdrop is inspired by a store. I live in Arizona, so there's these cute little shops in the little towns, and I went to a town in Prescott, and the boutique had a wall of birds, and I for a while was just so obsessed with it. Like, I want to be a bird watcher. I want to I want to get binoculars. I want to, and in the area that I live in, there are a lot of different species of birds. And so I went so far as to like find this fabric and put it up, and I just really am very inspired by the colors and that sort of thing. And so I remember one time I was going for a walk, and all of a sudden a bird was flying and it just kind of stopped in front of my face in midair and just flapped its wings. It was the most amazing thing. And you know how when something's happening, you're like looking around to see if somebody else is noticing it? So once I got out of that and I just let it be for me, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And so that's what I would invite you to. Just find something, a few moments where I'm, even if you just don't have that much time, just put a timer on your phone and just go for the next few minutes. I'm just going to listen to the sounds around me. And I think even that allows you to go more inward with this art journaling practice. Okay, so there's 3 more. Give back, do something good or kind for someone. Number 9 is connect with another writer. Well, that's us right here. But if you're going along with this class with a friend, that's even more amazing. And I hope that you consider doing that. And then number 10 is to write. Sometime, someplace, every day. Honor that part in you that wants to express yourself. And I love that because so many times, again, going back to this, people get hung up on these titles. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. Guess what? Everybody wants to express themselves. Everybody wants to be heard and understood. And so your art journal can be that place where you can hear your own thoughts. There is a famous quote that talks about, if I want to know what it is that I'm thinking, I need to write it down. And I love that because it's true. There are times where I've noticed I've had aha moments that come through the pen that I would have never had just sitting down going, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you right now? So anyway, those are the 10 daily habits. I would love to hear down below which ones you really had like a aha moment around or something that you want to consider trying. And I will see you back here in a little while. Thanks for stopping in. Hi there, welcome back. Okay, so what I have here is I have a candle. I got it from the DeGrazia Museum here in Tucson, Arizona. And if you have not seen this gentleman's work, look it up. I believe you'll really enjoy it. And so what I wanted to do is, so you might need to pause me, but I would like you to get a candle if you have one handy, and then something to light the candle with. And what I want to do is I want to do a couple of the 10 habits for being more of an effective art journaler and writer, and kind of merge them together. So I'm going to merge practice spirituality, which is number 6, and then paying attention. So go ahead and mute me if you need to. And what we're going to do is I just would like you to again sit in a safe place where you can have a lit candle. I just have this here just for a point of reference so I can take part in it as you go along with me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just begin to, again, delve in this idea of as we pay more attention, as we even incorporate some sort of meditative slowing down, so a lot of people get hung up on this word spirituality, but just this idea of slowing down your breathing and slowing down your mind and just allowing yourself to settle a little more deeply into yourself. What you're going to find is when you then turn your attention to your art journaling, you're going to really come from a deeper place. And this, again, is something that I think is a practice, obviously, but it's also something that as you're starting to get more comfortable with what you want to take from your art journaling practice, you can then come back to these videos and try them again on a regular basis, just as a way of centering yourself. Okay, so I'm going to hold on a moment or a couple seconds. You can pause me, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to read from a book by Kathleen Finney called Savoring God, and it's specifically on the theme of candles and how candles, as many of you may know, they really do kind of integrate very nicely into this this idea of like that softness and the quiet and the staying, just I don't know, it kind of gives you a reverence and awe. That's why, ceremonies, not just in churches, but in ceremonies, we incorporate candles, and there is an actual reason behind why we use a candle. So first, we're going to practice a little bit with a candle, and then I'm going to give you some information on the background of using candles. All right, so make sure you're in a space that it's safe to have a candle, and let's go ahead and get started. Look at the unlit candle as it waits to do what it was meant to do. Give light. Now you're looking at an unlit candle. Touch it and sense its texture and shape. Smell it to determine if it has a scent or not. Now prepare to light it. And watch as the candle is slowly transformed into a source of light. Smell the bit of smoke as the wick lights and as the match is blown out, if you're using a match. If we were to use this candle, or the source of its flame, to light many candles, the light of this one would not be diminished in any way. This light could be magnified many times without diminishing any of the flames it helps foster. Hold your hands close enough to the flame to feel the warmth without being burned. And watch how the candle's light changes the appearance of the objects around it as it throws the light that is and is not its own. Listen as I offer this to you. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Some things to consider. Until the last century or so, our only sources of light were candles and lamps of various sorts apart from sunlight. Although we don't often experience total darkness in our culture, the symbol of light as truth in the midst of darkness, of falsity, of fear, and of evil is still a strong and powerful one. As we look at this candle today, ask for guidance to see more clearly how you are the light in your own life, and to appreciate the ways that you dispel the darkness of doubts and fears with the strong flame of the love that you express. Let's just take a moment here and sit with that thought. Now, as we finish our time here, make sure to blow out your candle if you're moving on to the next thing, or take this time now to get out your journal supplies, to pick your quote for the day, your picture for the day, or maybe allow this time just to be a time that you're just writing in your journal. See you back here soon. Well, welcome back to the course, and I would like for this next section of the course where I'm actually going to dive in with you and create an art journal right alongside of you. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to start with a guided meditation, very similar to what we did with the candles in the last section, where I wanted to sit for a few moments and kind of prepare ourselves. And this might even be something that you want to come back to anytime you want to start your next art journal page. I would also invite the idea for you you can also think about even setting up all your pages, or maybe 1, 2, or 3 of your pages when you have the time, and then almost surprise yourself so that the next time you go back to your art journal page, it's almost like you're looking at it with fresh eyes. So again, I just want you to feel free to play with this idea so that it really becomes something that you value and really enjoy doing as a practice. So I do have my candle from last time. I don't have mine lit, but if you would like to light your candle and find a safe place for you to sit with your candle. This meditation will take about, I would say maybe about 2 to 4 minutes. And then from there, we will start in the next section after this one, where I will have out my art journal pages and I will be creating alongside you. So the theme for this week is light. And so that kind of piggybacks on the candle exercise that we did in our last section. And I think it flows very nicely. And I'm also going to throw in a third topic as well. So again, you can interchange them so that it doesn't have to be all journey themed or all light themed, and you can pick and choose how you want to incorporate it together. All right, so let's find a quiet place for you to sit. Get your candle available if you would like to do that and get it lit, and then we will go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with just the sound of a Tibetan bell to start us off and also to end our practice. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Be quiet. Be silent. Be tranquil. Be present. Be now. Be here. The first task of the soul is to be with God, to sit at His feet, to listen and to be attentive to all He says, does, and asks. Our Lord is all we need and want, our stronghold, our refuge, our shepherd, our wisdom. God cares for us, feeds us, gives us life. Be still. It is hard. It means to let God speak to us, breathe in us, act in us, pray in us. Let God enter into the most hidden parts of our being. Let God touch us even there where it may hurt us and cause us pain. To be still is to trust, to surrender, to let go, to have faith. Be still. God is and God acts, not once in a while, not on special occasions, but all the time. Be still and listen to the one who speaks to you always. Feel the actions of one who acts always. And taste the presence of the one who is present always. Know. Come to know. Real knowledge. Full, intimate knowing. A form of diagnosis. A knowing through and through. A knowing with the heart. A knowing by heart. Be still and know. Come to that still knowledge. There is a very restless knowledge, a confusing, distracting, dividing knowledge. But knowing God is a knowing of the heart, of the whole person. It is knowing that is also seeing, hearing, touching, smelling. Be still and know that I am God. That is not meant to be a fearful knowledge, but a peaceful knowledge. God is not a God of the dead, but a God of the living. God is not a revengeful God, but a God of love. Know that I am God, your God, the God who is only love, the God who touches you with his limitless and unconditional love. Be still and know that I love you, that I hold you in the palm of my hand, that I have counted the hairs of your head, that you are the apple of my eye, that your name is written in my heart. Do not be afraid. It is I. There is nothing in us that needs to be hidden from God's love. Our guilt, our shame, our fear, our sins. He wants to see it, touch it, heal it, and make himself known. There is no other God than the Lord of love. Be still and know that I am God. God is not in the storm, nor in the earthquake, nor in fire, but in the still small voice, the gentle breeze, and the sheer silence. Be still and know that I am God. Take these words with you in the week to come. Let them be like a little seed planted in the good soil of your heart, and let it grow. I'll see you back here next time, and next time we will be art journaling together. Hi again. Well, I am back, and I wanted to do one more example of art journaling for you as another option. Again, as I showed in the last video, I have this picture, and I have these 3 quotes, so I will read those to you again. There is a crack in everything, and it's from the theme light. There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. If no pain, then no love. If no darkness, no light. If no risk, then no reward. It's all or nothing. And to love beauty is to see light. So here's another option for you. Now you have 3 sets of themes: journey, light, and peace. Now you may find, if you printed everything off, that you could actually mix and match all those pictures, and you don't necessarily have to keep, within the confines of the theme per se, meaning all of your pages have to be consecutively the journey or the light or peace. And so what's good about that is, again, it allows you to use that creativity piece, right? So again, going back to, if you're still feeling that I'm not creative because I'm not drawing the picture, or I'm not, writing a quote, it's more than that. I want you to expand this idea of what creativity is. It's way more than that, right? And if you do expand it, it almost gives more color to your life when you expand it, right? So, for example, with this, especially this picture, what I love about it, let's see if I can get that. Do you see how that light is shining right there by the plant? And do you see how it's cascading into the TV? And you see there's a window over there somewhere. So I really do like that, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my page in a different way, just with that in mind. So again, I'm going to use my washi tape, and I'm going to cut this in a circular fashion. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, there are 3 different templates of notebook pages, so you can again mix and match with that as well. All right, also you don't necessarily have to use washi tape, and even as I put this down, I'm kind of looking around because I kind of wish I had glue, because glue is another great option for what you're doing here. But this washi tape I actually picked happens to have a similar flower pattern to what's in the picture. So actually I think that's going to come together nicely. So let's say I don't really necessarily have any words that I want to write to go along with this. Maybe I just want to cut up the words and create what maybe you might call a poem. Okay, I have some glue here. Let's see if it works easily or if it's going to cause me trouble. As I've mentioned, I'm an art teacher, so a lot of my art supplies get touched by a lot of children. They aren't kept in the best oh, perfect. They're not kept as nicely as I want them sometimes. All right, so I'm going to start with the words "see light," and I'm gluing that on. And then I'm going to cut from this other one the word "no light." And so again, you're just trusting your process that by the end of it, it's going to have some sort of cohesion to it, right? And then I'm going to take the word "to love." And then the word "beauty." I'm going to put "beauty" next to "no light." Again, will this come together? Will this not? We'll see. Just kind of trust the process. And then take the word "then." Putting it next to "then." And then I'm taking the word "pain" and then the word "is." And then the word "reward." Okay. So here I have it. Here is my picture, and then I've pieced together a poem. And it says, "See light then, beauty. No light is pain. To love, reward." Right? And so, not really going to overthink why I chose those words and put them together. But what I'm curious to see is, what do I have left here? There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So I did not cut this one, but doesn't that sound like a culmination? Hello and welcome back. As promised, today I am going to create my journal pages in real time along with you. Have a little music playing in the background, and I invite you to do the same. If you want to light a candle, do that as well. Take a few moments to breathe. However you have come to this routine that you have now that we're into week 3 of doing our art practice together in our art journals. I think as I continue to move forward with the classes that I'm creating for you, hopefully to see you again in the classroom, I think I want to extend even more invitations to add to your art journal. But this is a great way to get started, and I promise you, as I showed you in the last session, I was completely satisfied to art journal just in this way for at least 2 years without issue. Every once in a while I might try doodling in there, but even that was just too hard for me to kind of wrap my head around, so I just didn't do it, you know? So anyway, so what I did is I gathered up some pictures and the quotes from the theme light. And so here are the 2 pictures, which I'm going to cut them out. So television sitting on a counter in what looks like a kitchen, and then 2 girls hugging onto each other. And then the quotes I have here, I'll read them in just a moment. And then if you haven't seen them already, I've given you 3 different types of notebook paper template if you just wanted to simply print it off on your copy paper. So this one I did in full color, so it's like an index card setting on the bottom. Isn't that cool? But I also did it in black and white. So as you can see, you can definitely use whatever you have available. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by cutting out the 2 pictures. I want to talk about that a little bit. So it may be that as you see the pictures, maybe you don't want to use the full picture, and maybe you just want to cut a piece out of the picture and use that as your guide on your journal page. Let me show you what I mean. So when you look at this picture, you can see that there are the 2 young girls walking, but there's also this tree over in the corner. Or maybe you just want to focus on this wall over here. The same thing for this one. Maybe you simply want the TV, or the coffee cups, or it looks like a plant in the corner. Or perhaps you want to take this TV and add it into this picture, right? So again, it's really just allowing your process. I mean, hey, maybe something about that television really reminds you of something and you want to create it around something around that. So that's my point. These are just templates for you to use, but I don't want you to feel like you have to do the exact template that I have lined out for you, okay? So I've got my 2 pictures cut out. I've got my washi tape, and of course you can use washi tape or you can just use regular tape. And then I have my quotes. And again, you can use craft scissors to cut out these quotes, you know, to have a more fancy look to them. You could round out the edges, you know, so it has a little rounded edge. You could cut and paste a couple of different quotes together. That's actually something that I talk about in the poetry class that I have available. Different ways to, it's called blackout poetry, and it's actually a really cool way to, again, kind of come at what your thoughts are just on a particular day, just based on what picture or what words you're being drawn to that day. Okay. So I have 4 quotes. Again, you can use more than one quote if you wanted to. You could even print it off and use it a few different times, maybe with that theme. So the quotes that I have, and the theme is light. One says, "If no pain, then no love. If no darkness, no light. If no risk, then no reward. It's all or nothing. In this world, it's all or nothing." And then there's another one here. "There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in." And then this one says, "To love beauty is to see light." And this one, "At times our own light comes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with great gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us." Now, I promise you, I randomly picked the pictures and the quotes. But for me, how incredible do these two feel together? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to tape it onto, I decided to use the index card that's in black and white because I just like the feel of that with the picture that I've chosen. Now I'm adding it with washi tape. It's such a weird word to say sometimes. I'm like, washi. I don't know. I think it's because I keep hearing a song that I sing with preschoolers about a wishy-washy woman. A washerwoman. Okay, so there we are. And already, look at that. So beautiful. And then from here, I'm going to also add that quote about the light that is rekindled from another person. And again, you don't have to be particular about how you put it on. I've just grown aesthetically to liking that the picture goes on top and then the quote and then the writing, but you don't have to do it that way. Okay, so here we are. And then I have some colored pens here. You can use whatever you have on hand. And so what came to mind for me as I was putting these together is I was thinking that I have a really close friend. It happens to be her birthday today. And she is a homeschooling mom. She has 4 kids, aging parents, married, very much active in her church community. And she's just a very busy woman. And we had a child together at the same time. So my youngest is her oldest, but then of course she continued to have children because she's about a decade younger than me. But as the years have gone on, we've just found that we can't get together, But so it's her birthday today, and I sent her a text, and she just sent me a lovely note back. And so that's what's on my mind today as I'm looking at this picture and as I'm looking at this quote. So I'm going to write a little bit about that here now. And I'm titling it My Best Friend. And I'm writing, when I was a little girl, I thought a best friend was someone I would see
every day. But as I've grown older, I realize it's not the one you see every day, but the one who fully sees you. Whew, right? And so there you have it. That is just a 10-minute journal page, right? Aesthetically pleasing. I was able to sit, process some thoughts based on something happening in real time, and I've captured a moment, right? So I would date it, obviously remembering because it's her birthday, so I'll remember that's the date I wrote it, which is even more special. And then I would either, put it into some sort of binder or, have a collection of pages that maybe I would staple together. So again, that all those details really so organically can be put together. There's no right way to do it. And it makes my heart feel connected to her, and it makes me feel like I really am sitting very fully in my moment, my present life right now at this moment, right? So anyway, I hope this was a great help to you. And again, I would love to see what you're creating. Please make sure and post them down below. Or if you're on Instagram, put them, if they're not too personal, obviously. You can tag me on Instagram under @RobinNorgren, and I would love to see what it is that you're doing. So continue on with your day, and I might get on to do one more in real time. And yeah, I can't wait to see how you guys have been doing. All right, see you soon. Well, hello, friends. I just wanted to pop in one last time and say thank you so much for joining in on this course. It has been my delight to put it together and to share something that has been incredibly meaningful in my life to help me to relate to myself and to others, to help me process things that might be going on that I can't seem to come to simply by sitting down and thinking about something. And I really hope that you had a similar experience, and I'd love to hear how this was for you. I do have other courses that you might be interested in, and my desire is to add more art journaling courses, and so stay tuned for that. I do have 12 different themes, and so I'm going to work through all 12 of the themes through the courses, and you can find the full set of these themes on my Etsy shop, but what you're getting is just a portion from each one so that you can dabble and play with it. And I would love to hear if there is something else that you might be interested in trying as well. I do have a poetry class here on Udemy, and I also have a couple of classes in the works that have to do with drawing just for the pleasure of drawing and not necessarily needing to do real life drawing. But I think that it will also be a wonderful addition if you really are enjoying the art journal process. So thank you again. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and feel free to come back again and again and create new pages in your journal. All right, you take care. Bye. Hi there. I want to take a few minutes to talk about why I think it is an amazing habit to continue art journaling. And I just want to thank you again for um, joining me in this workshop. For so many years, I really struggled with the way I wanted to express myself, and so I tried different things, and I was really making it too complicated. Either buying different journals or taking a class like you've decided to do. And I have so many classes where I on a whim joined the class and then just never felt I don't know,
inspired or safe. I guess safe is a good word, to just sit down and just create something. And so that's what I love about art journal pages is that you can sit down, especially with the tools that I've given you in this class, you now have kind of a sense of how you can go forward and create your own art journals. You can collect pictures off of um, your phone or in magazines. You can start to find your own inspiring quotes. You know now that you don't have to really buy anything very fancy. You can get a typical notebook and you can get started on this process. And so, what I wanted to do is, I just wanted to get on and I wanted to say, keep going. Keep going. If there's a way to maybe add some friends into the mix and you all can do it together, even better. But even if you can't, you can find just a simple table that is even easily foldable and put away. And then you keep your materials in a basket. And then anytime you feel the urge, you just pull it out and you can create. You can create while watching TV. You can create and have music on. If you have, a lunchroom, you can take it there if you feel so inclined to do so. But what I've tried to do is I've tried to give you the easiest way possible for you to step in to a way to express yourself, create for yourself. Um, get some things out if that's what you need to do, or just document things that are going on in your life. Now, with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this section of the video many other videos that I have created that show you how to do various art journal pages so that you can add in more acrylic paint or more watercolor paint, or you might even be inspired to, let's say, if you enjoy making feathers or you enjoy making butterflies, just continuing on knowing that you don't have to stop here. This can continue to grow and evolve with what your interests are. Now, what I liked about starting with just regular photographs is that everybody has photographs at their disposal and they tell a story very quickly. You look at a photo, even if it isn't your photo, and you can find some way to enter in. And that is the most important part, is that once you have something that is a catalyst where you can enter in and you can explore for yourself the feelings that you're having, or even the intentions and desires you have for your life, that is the first step to change, to growth, to a deeper understanding of who you are as a person, and even more so to find just the peace and the ability to make sense of the world, if that's one way to say it, or just making peace. I find that the older I get, the less I spend time on trying to make sense of why things are happening. Even if as I'm making this video, our family went through a personal tragedy as we lost one of our sons. He passed away. And then, not even 65 days later, my husband got into a major car accident and our car was totaled. And it's just things like that, that even at this age, in my mid 50s, I sit there and I think, that absolutely makes no sense. And I don't try to make it make sense. What I try to do is I find my peace, my joy, my gratefulness, my thankfulness in the midst of what's going on. And I invite you to do the same. So once again, thank you so much for taking this class with me. I have many other classes that are available here on Udemy, and it has been my pleasure to be a part of your creative process.